One person did put in here, if we have a recession, how should I be prepared to operate? Great question. And I'll give you a couple quick tips. Number one, even during COVID, which was the worst and quickest entering and probably quickest exiting downturns, as a company, we sat down with all our coaches and go, what do our clients really need? Because there was, while there was whispers of things going on in the rest of the world, there was a day where we shut down. And literally, I don't think we had more than a week or two conversation about a potential strong downturn or any conversation about a shutdown. You all, if for those of you who survived this, companies hiring freeze, a significant number went to downsizing. And what we learned was in that downturn, the interview to placement ratio stayed at 6.5 to 1, which surprised me. In most downturns, what you want to be ready for is if your interview to placement ratio is 6.5 to 1, it might go to 8.5 to 1. Companies get a little pickier. We found that recruit presentations to first-time interviews goes up only about 10 or 15%. So if you're at, say, 15 candidate conversations to get one to go on an interview, you might have to go to 17 or 18 because candidates, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. A little more reluctance. And the big one is, and these were in the worst recessions. So COVID peaked in May 2020, or April 2020, excuse me, peaked in April 2020 at 36 marketing conversations to a job order. That was the big one. From about 12, it 3x'd. So the term "no one is hiring" is BS. The term "no one is hiring" is BS. And I did it, in Boston with our clients. I had, as part of the conversation, because everyone in our client base measures their metrics because it becomes a predictive forecasting business tool that you can go to sleep at night on because it's always 100% certain predicting future revenue. And I'll say that again for those of you who are metric skeptics, 100% certain to predict future revenue, even solo operators through 10 million, 20 million, $50 million firms, works the same. So when you go into a recession, yeah, it's harder. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. In 2008, 2009, probably the worst and longer downturn than the other ones, than 01, then 91. The marketing presentation to job order ratio went from about 12, again, good economy, about 12 to 1, to 39 to 1. So 320%, say, of an increase in marketing activity and say a 20% increase in recruiting activity. Meaning you can throw numbers at a recession and survive, because in your niche, I said to a couple of the offices that were $1 million or $2 million in their niche. And I go, what percent market share do you have? And all of them were less than 1%, not in the recruiting space, in their niche. All their niche, if you think of the niches you're in North America, pay hundreds of millions of dollars in search fees. And even if that goes down 30 or 40%, what happens is most recruiters are going to give up, and they're going to say, why bother calling? No one is giving open, which is a lie, and it's a limiting belief. And what typically happens in any downturn is 40 or 50% of the recruiters leave. So let's say you ultimately have 50% fewer job orders and 50% fewer recruiters. The ones that survive, if they're aggressive in their marketing and really study the numbers, can, very small dips. And I've seen people grow in recessions because they knew that stat. I'll say that again. I've seen people grow their businesses in a downturn because they threw numbers at it. They just got committed to increasing their marketing activity.